Greetings, Mafia. Now, I know what you're thinking as soon as you saw the title of this video. You were like, top dollar, you fucking had it this time. You wanna go up against Pat Condell, the #1 white nationalist here on YouTube? Don't you fucking realize this guy's pushing 300,000 subs? You know what his trolls are gonna do to you? Well, I really don't give a fuck. Besides, Pat Condell claims he's all about freedom of expression, so I don't think he'll mind a little disagreement. Besides, I'm not gonna talk about Pat Condell, I'm just gonna focus on this one video. And yes, I know who he is. After all, his quotes were found in manifesto of Anders Breivik, the famous Norwegian white nationalist who killed the shit out of 80 of his fellow Norwegians. So yeah, I know who he is, but anyway, I'm just gonna focus on the latest video he made, one of his most recent, that's titled Europe's Betrayal of Women. And nothing can be farther from the truth, because in reality it was the European women who betrayed Europe, not the other way around. And before I proceed talking about his video, let me tell you something about European women, alright? They are the biggest sluts on the planet. They invented whoring. And one of the most devastating venereal disease that Western invaders brought to their colonized territories, such as Africa, India, and Northern America, as well as Australia, were gained by procreating with these European sluts. Hindus in India knew nothing about syphilis until English showed up. And this comes from a guy who lives in Europe, Southeastern Europe to be exact, but it doesn't matter. I've been all around Europe, both Central and North, as well as the Mediterranean part. And it's the same shit all over the place, alright? The European woman is the most whorish and slutty creature on the fucking planet. And they've traditionally thrown their own men under the bus. And in this video he talks about the alleged rapes in Germany, the country in which feminism runs amok. So much so they banned public male urinals because, guess what? They were just too fucking offensive. Now, I'm not going to get further into subject of white nationalism and feminism because I already covered that topic in my other video. And just a quick disclaimer. Pat Condell didn't say anything about MGTOW in his video because, well, he's more intelligent than Angelo Gage, but then again, saying someone is more intelligent than Angelo is not really a compliment. So without any further ado, let's listen to what Pat has to say.
As you probably know, Germany has taken more fake refugees than anyone in the current manufactured crisis.
By the way, the leader of Germany happens to be Chancellor Angela Merkel, and she's now in her second term because she got re-elected. And needless to say, she's a hardcore fucking feminist. And Christian nationalist. Ironic, isn't it?
And to celebrate New Year, the new arrivals showcased their culture in the city of Cologne with a mass sexual assault of women. We discovered subsequently that this had happened in several cities and several countries and had been pre-planned and organised. We didn't find out about it for a few days though, because the police and the media tried to keep it quiet. They don't like to talk about Muslim sex crime as it sends the wrong message. It tells the truth.
Or you mean the same Ghana-centric, feminist-run biased media who keeps portraying women as Mortal Kombat characters while men are nothing more than fat, stupid, rapey pigs?
But thanks to the internet and the alternative media, now effectively the real media, people soon found out and they became angry. Angry at the politicians enabling this illegal mass Muslim invasion.
Well, they should have elected those fucking politicians in the first place. And who's the voting majority in Germany? That's right, women.
Angry at the journalists who deliberately conceal its ugly consequences, especially for women. Angry at the double standards of the police who did nothing about the mass sexual assault but used water cannon and tear gas on the people protesting about it.
Kinda reminds me what MRAs in Germany have been going through.
And angry because Germany's first female chancellor has made her country and Europe significantly more dangerous for women in order to accommodate an army of hostile third world misogynists who have no legal right to be there at all and who laugh at the police because they know they can do what they like and they won't be deported.
Technically speaking, Pat, they are legally there because they've been allowed to cross border and enter the city. Only difference is they don't have working permits and voting rights, which means they're in the same position as any other European country who is not in EU, or God forbid, NATO.
In many ways, the Muslim world today is at a similar stage of development as Europe was 500 years ago.
Well, while we're at the subject, Pat, the Saudi Arabia, who happens to be the center of Islam, bought a shitload of real estates and businesses all over Europe. Not to mention the fact that Dubai has become one of the most attractive holiday destinations for every rich-ass European, because they have the best hotels money can afford, and the majority of them have been designed by German architects.
Back then, women in Europe kept themselves covered up for the same reason Muslim women do today. Society was brutal, legal punishments were sadistic, beheadings were all the rage, and nobody batted an eye. Europeans took that mentality with them to the New World.
No, Pat. Your fellow Englishmen took that mentality to the New World. We didn't have anything to do with that, so the joke is on you.
Where they were welcomed at first, until the natives quickly realised that these were savage people to whom might was right, who were a threat to anyone weaker or more peaceful, and who justified cruelty with superstition. Ring any bells? Since then, Europe has grown up and shaken off that mindset.
Since then, are you fucking kidding me, Pat? Since then we had 2 world wars, both started by Germany, first by Kaiser and then later by Hitler, and we also had segregation in America, as well as the most brutal and bloodiest war in history right here in southeastern Europe 20 years ago.
But now, our morally squalid and corrupt politicians are bringing it right back in again, wholesale, unfiltered, unchallenged, and illegally. As a consequence, our society is now measurably less safe and less civilized, and the rights of women are effectively negotiable.
While men's rights aren't even negotiable, so they're still in better shape.
Any woman in Europe who favours mass Muslim immigration is an irresponsible fool who has no understanding of the nightmare she's bequeathing to her daughters and granddaughters.
You mean feminists, Pat? The 90% of European women?
Those stupid women who had themselves photographed holding refugees' welcome signs have had their naivety and stupidity deservedly immortalised now.
Yup, you're talking about feminists.
Of course, hardly any of these migrants are refugees, and they're not welcome because they're not legal. Most of them are young, able-bodied men in no need of help from anyone, except maybe a little psychiatric help for their depraved attitude to women.
Black slaves on plantations were in pretty good shape, and so were the prisoners in Nazi labor camps, but that didn't make them feel any better. Unless, of course, you're saying that one can't be a refugee and healthy at the same time, or that there's an age requirement.
And it's not good enough to say that not all Muslim migrants are rapists, so we have to behave as if none of them are.
Here's a couple of interesting facts. The majority of these rapes actually took place in refugee camps, and the victims were Muslim women, but hey, why the fuck should you care about that, Pat? And the mayor of City of Keln is a woman. And as you may guess, she's a hardcore feminist.
Theirs is a culture of rape, where a woman who isn't covered up is asking to be raped and then punished for adultery or murdered by her own family. It wasn't drunkenness or even hatred of the West that motivated these disgusting attacks. It was contempt for women, a contempt that's been bred into third world Muslim men from birth, and the evidence is there for us all to see in the Muslim world. In Egypt, more than 99% of women have been physically molested.
Well, you got your own government to blame for that shit. UK was one of the countries who supported ISIS to gain power in Egypt by overthrowing Mubarak. God save the Queen.
The men see nothing wrong with it. It's part of their culture, whether we want to admit it or not. And the more of them we allow into Europe, the worse it's going to get, and women in Europe will become fair game and easy meat. That is the reality, women of Europe.
Well, actually, it's been reality before these refugees came along. And it's exactly what feminists have been asking for all along. The so-called female emancipation is nothing more than turning women into fair game and easy meat, as you put it. Besides, Pat, you shouldn't really try to deprive feminism of its achievements. After all, it's only been a year since last slut walk in Canada, and how long have they been bitching about patriarchy? And shit, they still do, even after they have accomplished to turn themselves into easy meat. I guess the moral of this story is, careful what you wish for.
I'm sure you will wake up to it sooner or later. It's just a matter of how many sexual assaults and rapes you're prepared to tolerate before you do. The public space is already no longer yours to enjoy freely.
Well, whose is it then? It sure as hell ain't ours.
You have to modify your appearance now and be more careful about where you go and who you mix with. Even the feminists say so.
No, Pat, this is not what feminists are saying. This is what we men are saying. What feminists are saying is, be more careful about choosing who you falsely accuse of rape, because these fucking refugees are broke.
You have to make yourself less visible to the predator, because we can't get rid of the predator, unfortunately, as it might infringe his subhuman rights. The moment third world Muslims feel stronger, they become a threat to everyone around them. Like Europeans 500 years ago, strength is the only thing they understand or respect. And the hundreds of thousands, soon to be millions of them flooding into Europe, they don't see strength, they see weakness. They see politicians and journalists afraid to tell the truth that's staring them in the face. They see police unable or unwilling to do their job and protect people.
And I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, it's a little too late.
They see a soft touch, a society in denial, complacent, naive, soft-bellied, in decadent decline, and they intend to take full advantage of that, and full advantage of European women.
Which is exactly what feminist organizations have been doing for the last 30 years or so.
And after every mass sexual assault, because this is now just the beginning, the authorities will huff and puff for a while and announce a new zero-tolerance policy that turns out to be the same old 100% tolerance, one-way tolerance, of course, the usual kind.
The feminist kind.
Nobody will be deported. The illegal Muslim invasion will be allowed to continue. The rapes and the sexual assaults will continue. And politicians will continue telling us how unacceptable it is while continuing to accept it.
And feminists will keep on voting for them.
As long as the people currently in charge remain in charge, nothing will change. The only way it can change, non-violently, is through the ballot box. Women comprise half the population. That's a lot of voting power. And they're not all self-hating progressive feminists.
Oh, you're right, Pat. Not all women are like that, aka Nuwalt, and not all of those refugees are Muslims. The percentage is the same.
Most of them still have enough common sense to see what's needed and to know that they have it in their power to remove this predator from our society by electing people who will do the right thing for once, who will stop the invasion and close the borders and deport all illegal migrants and Muslim sex criminals, regardless of their so-called human rights.
Yeah, fuck those so-called human rights. The fuck we need that bullshit for anyway?
And if you think that sounds a little too harsh, the alternative is a million times worse. Because people are getting angry now, and they're setting up vigilante groups all over Europe.
There's never been a shortage of Thursday white nights. But wait a minute, haven't we been told time and time again that women are just as tough and strong as men? I mean, what the fuck happened to that Ronda Rousey bullshit? I mean, we were told that she can beat the shit out of a Floyd Mayweather. Oh, that's right, I forgot. She was hiding her beat up and fucked up face on the airport while crying like a bitch after she got her shit kicked out of her by another woman. And now the bitch can't even eat an apple, but I bet she can suck on that Travis Brown cock.
To do the police's job for them and defend themselves and their families. If this illegal Muslim invasion is allowed to continue unabated, as the politicians clearly intend, tribal war is coming to Europe. And then nobody will have any human rights, least of all, women.
Well, they have more rights than we do, Pat. So, for the record, I don't give a rat's ass about these bitches, and I don't give a shit if a bunch of thirsty white knights have nothing better to do in their lives than playing Captain Save-A-Ho. And nothing will make me happier than watching a bunch of white knights and rapists killing each other left and right. In the meantime, I'm just gonna chill watching movies and living a free life, without being burdened to solve never-ending problems of women. Damn, it's good to be a MGTOW.